Eclectic.com.
What's up, guys? This is Hans from the Eclectic podcast, and today we're going to be taking a look at something that I was really excited to get. I ordered it probably about a year ago, and this is a KO MP08X Oversized Grimlock. I ordered it from the guys over at tf-direct.com, and yeah, no, I was really psyched to get a hold of this figure. Real quick here, we'll take a look at the box. It does look like your typical Masterpiece style on the packaging itself. Down at the bottom, we've got the Autobot symbol with MP 2.0 Dinobot Commander Reximus Prime. Up at the top, the Transformers Masterpiece, kind of your typical style for a Masterpiece box, although this isn't truly a Masterpiece. There he is in his Dino mode, or in his bot mode, and then in his Dino mode in the corner. And it does come with an alternate face, but we'll get into that as we get into the packaging. Top of the box just shows him as Reximus Prime, all knelt down. Side of the packaging, kind of your typical Masterpiece foil, kind of what would actually be kind of on the top. Same thing with the opposite side. On the backs, we don't have a whole lot of information on the back here, but it just shows some of the various content that he comes with. Most of those are just the promo images that we had seen before. And then at the bottom shows you the contents of the box, and then a bunch of stuff that I have no idea what it says. So yeah, this is a pretty massive box. Just kind of for comparison here, here's the typical MP08 box. Now, looking at just the box size, it doesn't look that much larger, but once we actually get into this, you'll kind of see what the actual differences are. This the KO box is actually quite a bit wider, and a little bit taller. But like I said, once we get into this, you'll actually see what the differences are and see why I'm so impressed with this figure. So without any further ado, let's go ahead, let's open this guy up, take a look at what's inside, and see how cool this figure really turned out to be. Alright, so here he is out of the package. And I've got to say, they did an excellent job of knocking off this figure. I don't know how else to put it. It is huge, and I have no way to show you that. I mean, we will go through that, but we'll go through with what all he comes with. So we have a set of instructions along with his card. The instructions here, not too much, I mean, in the way to speak of, just kind of shows you obviously his transformation. Not full colored or anything like that, but they did a fairly good job. I mean, considering this isn't really a actual figure. I mean, it is. And then on the back, we do have some nice artwork of Reximus Prime with the alternate head, which is kind of a mashup of Optimus and Grimlock. It also has inside of this bag here, we get a spec card. Not real artwork, but it is just kind of the photo of Reximus. And then on the back, it comes with the bio, and shows him in his couple different modes, along with his tech specs. I don't know if I'm actually holding this card still enough for you to read the bio, but if you want to, you can pause it right now and go ahead and read the bio that's on here for the figure. There's this skill set, his ranking. But yeah, we'll get that out of the way. It also comes with his regular crown, which is extremely sharp, and that crown is for the regular Grimlock face. And then here's the Reximus Prime crown, a little bit different detail. And then here is the alternate head, which I'm not crazy about an alternate face, but we'll go into that more here in a little bit. But just kind of give you an idea of what the head actually is. His typical blaster, double barrel blaster there. Again, just oversized. And then his sword. Again, kind of what we got already with MP08X, but this one's, again, an oversized version of it. So yeah, that's basically it for the extra accessories that he comes with. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at him up close. I had to adjust the camera. The head is on a typical ball joint, so you can look left, you can look right, he can look up, he can look down. Great range of motion, secures nicely. You can see the ball peg underneath whenever we lift it up. Great head sculpt. I think they did such a great job with that masterpiece Grimlock head sculpt. It still retains the eye changing function, the gimmick that the MP08X had. This is the alternate head installed on the figure. And of course you can still do the eye change function with this head. Still possible with it. Again, I'm not crazy about this head sculpt. Not that it's angry or anything like that, or that it's wrong. It's just, I don't know, it doesn't fit to me. I don't particularly like it so much. But yeah, that's the alternate head. Just so you can kind of get a look at it and see how it looked on him. Now, for the install of the head, it's actually pretty simple. There's 2 screws on the back of the mold. You'll just undo those, and then you can swap these really easily. I'll show you. Pull that off there. And also how the light, or the eye changing gimmick works. There's just that little lever in there. So you just install that onto the head that you're going to use, port it through the ports, and then by that lever you select how you want to do it. It's easy, really easy to do. Here he is Reximus Prime with expanded crown, and then there is regular King Grimlock with his regular crown. The Reximus Prime crown doesn't quite fit. But the eyes you can change at any time, depending on your mood, or I guess on how you want to put Grimlock's mood. He does still have that Autobot symbol in the chest. The silver paint on the figure actually looks really, really nice. The Grimlock head in Dino mode still does retain the eye-changing figure or gimmick also. His wings are adjustable, as is his arms. But again, we'll go through a lot of that stuff in Dinobot mode. He does still have the very large ball joints for his arms, for his shoulders. And the joints on this guy, I've got to say this, are incredibly tight, which was absolutely necessary, especially considering his size. Had they gone with looser joints, it probably would not have been able to hold up its own weight. There's still a lot of die cast in this figure. All the parts that were die cast on the original Grimlock are still die cast on this guy. He does still have the light functionality within the arm. Simple push of the button on the shoulder activates it. Just look at that. That looks so impressive. Bicep does have a swivel right there at the top. And then you get the double hinged elbow, which doesn't give you a great amount of movement. It gets you kind of right around to about 90 degrees. But it works. It's what's necessary for the figure. Yeah. Very nicely done. We'll go ahead and we'll pan down here. Take a look at the lower part of the figure, because I can't get them all in frame whenever I'm up close. You do still have, even though it's out of frame, which I'm going to adjust that right now, you do have waist swivel. So you do have that with this figure. We also have the legs, which will go out that far and holds it perfectly. They go back that far, and as long as you've got those kind of the wings opened up, you get a lot more room in there. Can do the complete splits. Wow! Again, holds it great. You do have an upper thigh swivel. You get a nice ratcheted bend at the knee. which gives you a pretty good range of motion again on the figure. Heavy ratchets too. Like I said, this guy had to have him. He is huge. Huge. The feet still have the same articulation that we had before, where you had the rocking motion there. You get a little bit of a tilt or rocking back and forth, but it still retains all that same articulation that we had within the original MP08X. Keep on turning on that light on his hand. Just for comparison here, if you look at some of the paint job there, I mean, they've done an excellent job of replicating the original paint scheme that Grimlock did have. The silver is really nicely applied all the way throughout the figure. The back metal that's on the claws and on the chest, really nicely done. I mean, there's a few specs that are kind of off, like where it kind of looks a little bit flaky. But overall, I mean, everything holds true to the way that it should be. Along with the clear pieces, you know, that extra detail that's inside of there. Looks great. And I mean, my MP08X, my actual one from Takara Tomy, has issues too with that vac metal. So it's not like this guy doesn't have those issues. And he has a great amount of weight to him. That die cast just added a whole bunch to him. He's a heavy figure. They didn't skimp of the die cast, but they did it smart. They didn't do it ridiculously. But again, they were following the original Takara mold. Even the detail on the inside of the wings looks great. The paint apps, everything about this figure just screams quality. Here it is finally with the Takara Tomy MP08X, and you can kind of see, I mean, he comes up to right about his chest level. You know, the tops of his head goes right about there. And unfortunately, the KO actually has much tighter joints, so he's able to hold his poses much better than what the MP08X does. And that's true of all the MP08 molds. They were kind of just, you know, you had to get in there and kind of tighten some screws to help him secure, especially in the lower sections. But that right there speaks volumes right there. I don't even have to say when you look and see the size difference. Especially considering MP08 came out when they were kind of doing the in-between time before they came out with the final masterpiece scaling that we know now. This guy fits perfect. He is kind of what I would believe Grimlock needed to be. I can't say enough. I'm gushing over this guy. He looks awesome. He has his flaws. He's got that gap in his thigh. Here's a pan over him just of the two, because it really is hard to get completely in frame with this guy, but they did a great job. So, okay, so comparison of the weapons. This is MP08X's sword, and there's the KO sword. I do like the deeper amber color on the KO, and just that size is ridiculous. Here's his blaster. That's the regular one that came with the Takara Tomy release. Here's MP08X's. Again, when you look at them, I mean, side by side, they have the same molding all the way around. Just everything is upsized on him. Beautiful figure. I know a lot of people are against the KOs, but this was one that I definitely thought was worth the money. Here's the crowns, just so you can kind of, I mean, just to see the size difference. And again, like I said, the KO's crown is super sharp. We'll go through and show you how he kind of holds his weapons. His hands are still kind of the typical masterpiece hands, and it's the same as it was with the original release of this figure. Holds his blaster fine. It's got that extra port that pegs into the upper part of the fist, so it does make sure it has a secure connection. The hands, since we are looking at this right now, they do open those, like I said, those last four fingers are all kind of on their, or last three fingers are on their own hinge together. They're not separated, whereas the trigger finger is kind of on its own, but they kind of all move together with this guy. And the thumb is articulated, so he does have a rotation, and then there's kind of an in and out, but that's mainly from transformation, not real articulation, but it is there. Now the hand with the lighted side, you do have the articulated thumb, but you can't get much movement out of it just because of the way the blocked hand works. But you do have that there. Let's show out the light gimmick on this guy. With the blaster, it doesn't seem to work quite as well. It pegs in fine enough. Probably not exactly the most secure connection, but we'll go ahead and we'll light this up so you can kind of see, and then I'll kill the light so you guys can kind of see exactly what I'm talking about with this. It's hardly visible with the lights on. With the lights off, it looks okay. Most of it's kind of lost back there in the hand itself where the connection is actually made. But it works. It gets the job done. Take that out of there. We'll take a look at the sword next. And the sword, it doesn't connect as securely as I was kind of hoping, but it does do the job. I mean, it gets it in place, and he does hold it fine enough. Bring it down. You can see it kind of shaking when I was moving his arm around. Turn his head, of course. Got to pose him. Light it up. Kill the lights. There we go. So the sword, I think, works a little bit better than the rifle. You can see that kind of illuminates all the way almost to the tip of the blade. And it is a beautiful red. It looks very kind of white on camera, but it is a very nice, vibrant red color that comes out of that. Just thought I'd share that with you guys. Something else that I wanted to tell you, I'm not going to go through transformation on this guy. You guys have seen Grimlock's transformation multiple times, and this is no different because it is just an exact ripoff of that other mold. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll go from him looking like this into his Dino mode. So here he is in his Dino mode. And again, he is massive, massive figure. I can't get his tail gimmick to work where it's supposed to shake his head. That part just, it doesn't seem to want to catch. And I don't know why, but that's not a deal breaker for me because I think that's kind of lame. Nice tempo printed Autobot logo right there on his chest. And I'm glad they actually included that. I hate having to apply stickers on my own, but they did include that on the KO. He does still have his Diaclone seat that the Takara Tomy version had. Kind of adjust him here. He's got the strength in those tight joints to be able to support him in multiple forms. You know, you can get him kind of doing that stance like this. Look at that. Just, I can't get over it. I'm really impressed. He does still have the jaw chomping function where you can flip that down. As well as he did retain the eye changing gimmick to where you can go from blue to red eyes. If I can remember which way to turn it. There we go. Close that back down. Booyah. Booyah. Booyah shaka. Great. Great KO. His claws still have the individual articulating fingers on there. Again, super sharp, just like his crown. So you got to be careful with those. I mean, you really can cut yourself with these if you put enough pressure on them. But look at that. That is so cool. It's not exact and it's not perfect, but it's close enough. And for everybody that was like, you know what, Grimlock needs to be bigger in the MP series, this does it. This matches that size. Now, I know a lot of people are probably going to be like, well, I wish it kind of was the regular color scheme. And more than likely, if this is sells well, they probably will release the regular color scheme of him. Here he is with the MP08X, the Takara Tomy version. And just look at how he towers over him. Really, really, really astounding. I don't know what company does this. I mean, the knockoffs are such a mystery. But this was just phenomenal. Everything is oversized, everything is tight, everything allows it to hold the poses as it needs to, just because if not, with such a big figure, he would just be a fiddly mess. But they did it, and they got the tolerances just right for him. The details in the paint there with the gray and the red, they matched everything up perfectly. See, this guy, his head wiggles just fine. The funny thing is, if I hadn't known any better, and somebody just showed me this, if I didn't know the sizing already, I would totally think that this was a masterpiece. It has that fit and finish that masterpieces need to have. And it looks great. Big chunky block of a dinosaur. Beautiful. Beautifully molded. And again, I know it's a knockoff, but they did a great job making him oversized. Everything is so tight. Everything is so well balanced. Just a phenomenal figure. I highly recommend him if you guys are curious of wanting to get a bigger Grimlock for your shelf. This is the best way to do it. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. Peace out, and we will talk to you soon. What makes this podcast unique?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Dylan, 130 the Eclectic Podcast, just coming at you right now. Then you know we'll be on into YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, come on back now. Be the third subscriber. You get absolutely nothing. Thank you so much. And please listen to the Eclectic Podcast because we are amazeballs.
Yeah, we're probably not quoting Mel Gibson ever again.
If you want to listen to lizard people or hear all about lizard people, lizard people, let them go, lizard people.